Hello everyone, welcome to English class. Dear students, today we are going to start a new chapter from the supplementary reader book An Alien Hand. Name of the chapter is The Bear Story, chapter number 8 and the page number 52. Before to start the chapter, let's have a look on the author. As you can see, the picture is here, and Axel Monthe was the writer of this story, and he was a Swedish born medical doctor and psychiatrist, best known as the author of the story of San Mikael, an autobiographical account of his life and work. He spoke several languages: Swedish, English, French, Italian fluently, and German at least passably. So let us begin with the introduction. The story depicts the lovable side of a fierce bear. He obeyed his lady as any other pets do. He gave up his beastly acts. The writer pictured the likings and habits of the bear. So, in this story, you are going to read about the details of habits and likings of a bear. So, page number 52, the introduction. So, what we are going to read in the part 1, the lady in the manor house had a bear as pet. It was a most friendly bear who loved vegetables, apples, and honey, and he roamed freely during the day but was put on the chain at night. So, I'm going to read para 1 for you. So, please have a look and keep your eyes on the book. There was once a lady who lived in an old manor house on the border of a big forest. This lady had a pet bear she was very fond of. It had been found in the forest, half dead of hunger, so small and helpless that it had to be brought up on the bottle by the lady and the old cook. This was several years ago, and now it had grown up a big bear, so big and strong that he could have slain a cow and carried it away between his two paws if he had wanted to. But he didn't want to. He was a most amiable bear who did not dream of harming anybody, man or beast. He used to sit outside. So, what happened once there was a lady on the border of a lived on the border of a big forest, right? And he lived in a manor house, means the mansion or the wealthy of a lord, means landlord she was. So she lived in a very good house, and she had a pet bear and she was very fond of, means she loved the pet bear very very much, and it had been found in the forest. He got the forest from the sorry he got the bear from the forest, which was half dead of hunger. Means one day when she visited the forest, she found a bear which was very hungry, and it so much hungry that he was just near to death, and he was very small and helpless. So the lady brought the bear at home, and at the beginning she fed up with the bottle, right? And she and the cook of the house brought the uh, beer, and now it was a very big beer. This was several years ago, many years ago it was happened, and now it had grown up to a big beer. Now it is a big beer, so strong also, big also, that you could have slain means he can take. Okay, so he can take a cow and carried it away between his two paws if he had wanted to. Means now he can, sorry, to kill, now he can uh, kill a cow by taking the cow between its two paws. And he was the most amiable. If he But he didn't want to, but he didn't want to do anything like this, because he was a very amiable, very friendly, very lovely bear, and he never thought to harm anyone. Okay, so he was very most amiable, the friendly behavior, that who didn't want, even in a dream, he can't harm anybody, not even a man or a beast means animal. So he used to sit outside of man or beast, he used to sit outside his kennel and look with his small intelligent eyes most amicably at the cattle grazing in the field nearby. The three shaggy mountain ponies in the stable knew him well and didn't mind in the least when he shuffled into the stable with his mistress. The children used to ride on his back and had more than once been found asleep in his kennel between his two paws. The three dogs loved to play all sorts of games with him. So here is the introduction part of the bear, means how he spent his day and how he behaved with others, right? He used to sit outside his kennel his house, so he used to sit outside and look with his small intelligent eyes most amicably, most lovingly at the cattle grazing in the field nearby. Means in the field, in the nearby field, the cattle used to came there to graze, and he always used to see them only and never try to harm them. The three shaggy mountain ponies, horses, mountain horses. Okay, so three horses were there in the stable, and they knew him very well, right? They knew that yes, it was a very amicable and very friendly bear, and didn't mind in the least when he shuffled into the stable with his mistress. So whenever he went there with his mistress, with the lady in the stable, they never mind, they never think any bad, or they never think to harm him. The children used to ride on his back and more than once been found asleep in his kennel between his two paws. And children also loved to play with bear, and he bear never harmed them. Even you, once or two times, twice or thrice, they have seen that children had slept with the bear into his kennel. So he took care of the children as well. And the three dogs, again three animals were there, three dogs were there, loved to play all sorts of games with him. So he played with the dogs also, pull his ears and his stump, yes, of a tail, and tease him in a very every way. So what happened, as you can see in the picture, yes, here is the house, right? And here is the bear, and here is three dogs, and they always used to play with him, right? And they play like best friends, and they all sorts of game they play. And the dogs used to pull his ears, stump of a tail, and tease him every way, right? Some from here and there, from ahead and from back, they always used to tease him, right? He didn't mind it at all, right? But he didn't mind it in the least. He had never tasted meat. He ate the same food as the dogs, and often out of the same plate: bread, porridge, potato, cabbage, turnip. He had a fine appetite, and his friends the cook saw to it that he got his fill. Means now here is the time to explain about the food, right? Which kind of food the bear ate? He never tasted meat, means he was he was completely vegetarian, and he ate the same food as the dogs. Means the dogs and the bear ate the same food, even in the same plate also. And the food contains bread, porridge, potato, cabbage, turnip. And I think you all know about the meaning of all these terms. He had a fine appetite, right? He means he can eat very good quantity of food. So, and his friend the cook saw to it that he got his fill. So cook always took care that he always used to eat complete, so that he could uh, remove his hunger. Okay, so he gave so the cook gave the bear a good quantity of food. Bears are vegetarian if they have a chance. Okay, and fruit is what they like best. In the autumn, he used to sit and look with fistful eyes at the ripening apples in the orchard. In this and in his young days he had been sometimes unable to resist a temptation to climb the tree and help himself to a handful of them. So what happened, if we talk about the bears, they are vegetarian if they have a chance, and fruit is what they like best, means the favorite food if they wanted to eat, what is that, that is, yes, fruits. And in the autumn season, he what he used to do, he used to sit outside under the tree and looked with very wistful means very sad eyes at the ripening apples in the garden. Okay, as you can in the previous picture there was the apple trees, and he always used to sit there so that he could get an apple by chance. Okay, and his young days he had been sometimes, and he always used to climb the tree so that he could get some apples, but help himself to handful of them. He used to climb the trees because he can't resist himself, he can't stop himself to eat and to get the very ripened apples. Okay, and looks bears look clumsy, sorry, bears look clumsy and slow in their movements, but try a bear with an apple tree and you will soon find out that he can easily beat any schoolboy at the game. Now he had learned that it was against the law, but he kept his small eyes wide open for any apples that fell to the ground. So what happened, the bears look clumsy, they are not stiff, right, and slow in their movements, they can't run, they can't sharp in their movements, they are very slow. So but try a bear with an apple tree and you will soon found, means if he had tried, means to climb the tree, and he was trying only, then you could find that even he can beat a schoolboy in that particular game if he will get the chance, right, and if he will get training and if he will try. So what happened, now he had learned, yes, he wanted to climb the tree and he tried to climb the tree, but now he came to know that it is not the good thing, it is against the law to climb the tree and get the fruit. So what happened, so what he always used to do, he kept his small eyes wide open for any apples, means if he found any apple which was thrown on the ground, he just went and picked up that fell to the ground. He always used to wait on that kind of apple only which he found on the ground. There had also been some difficulties about the beehives. He had been punished for this by being put on the chain for 2 days with a bleeding nose, and he had never done it again. Otherwise, he was never put on the chain except for the night, and quite rightly so, for a bear, like a dog, is apt to get somewhat ill tempered. It kept on the chain, and no wonder. So here these paras on page number 53 and next on the page number 54. So what happened, he has sorry he some difficulties about the beehives. So bees were also living there, so he also got punished by them, right? And how he punished, yes, you know very well how the bees punished. Okay, so what happened, he had been punished for this by being put on the chain for 2 days, and after that obviously he harmed the beehives also. So he got punishment from his lady, that he was bind on the chain for 2 days with the bleeding nose, right, and he had never done it again, and afterwards he had never done it again. Okay, so he was not allowed to climb the tree and eat the apples. Okay, and he had also been taught not to touch the beehive after this kind of task. Now he was once put on the chain for 2 days when he had touched the beehives, right? So he touched the beehives, and yes, he got punishment for, yes, he was chained on for 2 days. It was otherwise he has never put on the chain except for the night, and quite rightly so, because it was the punishment, because in the daytime, during the daytime, he lived freely, right, he roamed freely, he never chained. But as he just do mischievous things, he did mischievous things, so he chained for 2 days. Otherwise he was chained only at night. Like a dog, a bear also doesn't like to be chained, right? Not even a single animal want to be chained, right? Similarly, the say, as the dog didn't like the dogs, all the dogs, three dogs were there. The dogs, like a dog, is apt to get somewhat ill-tempered if kept on the chain, and no wonder. Obviously, similarly, the dogs, if they don't want to be in the chain, similarly the bear also don't want to be in the chain. So here is the end of today only. So please keep reading.